What's up, Trust Engine Mortgage Coach community? It is Friday afternoon, and I'm going to have an awesome leadership conversation with one of my favorite leaders in the mortgage industry, Hunter Marckwardt. What's up, Hunter?
What's up, Dave? Good. I mean, 2 times in a week, man. I feel
Yeah,
special.
and that was so cool working with or having that call with your production,
Erica,
your partner. Not beyond production partner. Well, I think that is live. If it's not live, it's going to be live any day. You got to listen to this because it was. How much production are you doing right now? It was some crazy number.
This August was 18. Yeah, we'll do 18 million. We're at 15. It's the 18th, and we're at 15.3 million. So.
Yeah. So anyone listen to this, I interviewed Hunter around how are you doing 18 million in production in the month of August 2023. It's a lot of business, a lot of success. To make it even better, it wasn't just Hunter's. What is he doing? He had his production partner, who's actually now the partner of his team. So really your team partner. Yep. And it was just a great conversation. It was great meeting her, and I'm looking forward to doing more with the two of you together.
Awesome. Thanks, Dave.
All right. So guys, the topic here, it's leadership, it's personal production. Hunter does something called the Sunday Thoughts. A lot of people know that. If you don't know what Hunter's Sunday Thoughts are, you will soon. But Hunter, how long have you been writing Sunday Thoughts?
I'm on like 11 years, 12 years.
So 11 years as a leader. And going from memory, when you started doing it, it was because, you were a core coach. You were responsible for the success of a lot of folks. You were a growing leader at that time, RPM Mortgage. Yeah. And it was really something for you to...
It was literally 12 people, 12 students just saying, like, my dad used to teach me, it's like you spend, an hour or so on a Sunday preparing for the week, and the week goes a heck of a lot better. And I just sent that out to them. And then I sent something the next week, and it just it just morphed into what it is today. So yeah.
How many people today are you getting that distribution?
I want to say there's like 15 to 1600. It used to be our whole company. So but more now I think it's 15 or 1600 people, which, by the way, people ask, like, we get emails. You've asked me before. A friend of mine just kindly created sundaythoughts.com. So if you go to sundaythoughts.com, you can sign up there instead of, I used to tell everybody you have to, just email me and I'll put you on the list. So there you go.
And that's pretty much how Rob Chrisman started the Chrisman Report, which is
really?
the most well-read, articulated newsletter in the mortgage space.
He's on Sunday Thoughts. Whenever I get a response from Rob, I'm like, oh, all right, this is good.
Yeah. So you sent out a Sunday Thought. Rather than me say the title, why don't you share with everyone what the title of it was and what was your why? Like, why did you write it?
Yeah, well, I was invited, and I start off by saying it wasn't like I was, I don't think I was part of some elite group to be invited, but Jamie Dimon, obviously the CEO of JP Morgan Chase, was doing my guess is it's either to their private client group or people that they want to be in their private client group. And he was doing an interview. Someone asked me if I wanted to be on there. I said, sure. And I just happened, I was going to bail on it. And I ended up clicking on it and listened to him for an hour. And the final question, and I believe that this was off the cuff. It's kind of like you, Dave, doing these, like, you're not thinking about them. You just, I'm not saying you don't.
No, we didn't rehearse this.
You just go up and go, right? You're not sitting there thinking about, okay, Hunter, here's the questions I'm going to ask you, all that crap. So this guy was just asking him questions, and he finished it with, what advice would you give the next generation? And he just ripped off or spit out what I thought was, a 5-minute exercise that was better than any commencement speech or anything that I've heard in a long time. And I don't follow Jamie Dimon, but I was blown away by him. I mean, his ability, his articulation, his messaging, everything. So the name of the Sunday Thoughts was Jamie Dimon's advice to the next generation and to me. And yeah, that's what, I can rip them off real quick, or you tell me what you want to do.
Yeah, no, I want to bring it to life. I will set up the whole story here.
Sure.
What we're going to talk about is Hunter wrote it, and I read Hunter's Sunday Thoughts every Sunday. Like, I get them. If I don't read them Sunday because I'm too busy or I don't get to it, I read them by Monday. But and I don't want to say it was the best, because there's been a number of times where I'm like, this is the best. Like, I don't know how many times I've said that actually. But it was just one of those peak experiences. Maybe part of it is that I have a 21-year-old son, I have a 24-year-old daughter. I'm doing this new nonprofit called First Home IQ. And, our goal is to inspire and educate the next gen. Basically a lot of my brain power is like, how do we leave the new generation better? How do we help them kill it? And so all I know is I just was like, wow, that was amazing. And then I journaled on it. I kind of, Jamie had his, I didn't change his 7. I just said, if these were my 7, what would I say to my kids? I kind of personalized it. So we're going to start with Hunter's, kind of the core message. If you are on Facebook right now and you want to comment or you have questions, I will be checking that out because we have Facebook Live going. And if you're watching this in YouTube and you want to give us some feedback, or you want to add 8 or 9, like we're going to say 7, or you want to say, hey, this was my favorite, like comment, give us some feedback on this. So why don't you bring that post to life in this conversation right now?
Yeah. So, I mean, I'll just go with what he wrote. What he did is he said, I'll give him out real quick. Be curious, work hard, follow up, be honest, meet a lot of people, take care of yourself, your health, and people around you. And then the last one was give a damn, have a heart, and mean it. And all I could do is write those down as quickly as I could. His content along with them was amazing, but I don't remember what he said and the call wasn't recorded. So I just wrote what for me, what do each one of those things mean to me on being curious? And I don't think you want me to read this whole thing.
No, time out though. So wait a minute, because to me, there's a couple different things that we hope the audience gets from this. First of all, thinking about these 7 things is one of those things, but I did not know that you weren't just taking notes and these were yours. So you took this message from Jamie. Let's just say the structure of it was 80% someone else's, and the headlines were 100% someone else's, and then everything else was yours. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, this was just to put it in context, it was an hour call that he was on talking about AI, talking about global stuff, talking about rates and banking regulations and all this stuff. And the guy's last question randomly was, what would you tell the next generation? And yes, that's when he gave, to me, and they're highlighted, the be curious, what I wrote down. I wasn't writing down anything on this whole call. I mean, it was just like that one last minute. I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. And that's when I wrote those down, those single words down. And then I came back and wrote what they mean to me, because I thought that they were so powerful.
Sweet. Okay. Well, let's roll. So then how do you want to do this? Do you want to just kind of share some of your notes on those? We got 20, 30 minutes here.
Yeah, I mean, why don't I just do that? We'll see if this takes too long. So I be curious. My Grammy died at 102, still curious, still investing in life. I think all of my mentors they are all curious people. They're also curious about other people. They're curious about the study of something. This isn't a word for a new generation. This is a word for the continuation of life. You're either curious or stagnant. Stagnant isn't good. Curious is. For our team, I literally highlighted all these, by the way. I didn't highlight them. We talked about them as a team. Bridget's making laminate. I laminate everything that's important. Bridget's laminating these and sending them out to our team. So we're thinking about it. But what are we doing to stay curious in our work? What does that look like for our team? What does that look like for our business partners and clients? Work hard. My personal opinion, the pain of
whoa. Here's what, let's do this. I got a new idea. So you're going to do your version, then I'm going to do my version. And then people that are watching this, like if you're a nerd like Hunter and I are, like pause this video and do yours. Because part of the story here is that Hunter wrote his, then I wrote mine. And just because we're bros, like we communicate back, I sent him back like, Hunter, that was amazing. I journaled on it. Here's what I did. And then Hunter reached out to me a couple of days later. He's like, dude, that was good. Do you mind if I make next Sunday's thought sharing yours? And I'm like, of course. And now we're on this podcast. So what do you think? Like, we'll go back and forth.
Yeah, man,
one
I think
idea
it's
at a
great.
time.
And I should have emphasized that part of this came back with, I mean, Dave does respond. He's very complimentary of Sunday thoughts, but he came back to me and he took the time, which, by the way, I mean, there's no greater honor when someone takes something that you've said and then redoes it in their own words and gives it back to you. It's like, means he's listening, right? Dave and I were talking about that a little bit before our call. Like, we read all these books, we do all this stuff, but then we don't do anything with it, right? It's like you look at it once and you move on, like, oh, that felt good. It's like, do something with it. So yeah, I mean, Dave, absolutely. I think that sounds like a great idea.
So I'm gonna Be Curious, and here's what I wrote, guys. And remember, I'm dyslexic. It's even hard to read my own words out loud, but I'm gonna do my best here. So be curious, because it will help you always keep a growth mindset and will help you always be grateful, which, by the way, one of my personal things that I say to myself all the time, if I was to ever get a tattoo, it would be always curious, always grateful. And I do feel like curiosity is the fuel of gratitude. Like, that is, at the end of the day, there is no gratitude without curiosity. So that's just how I see it. And then I wrote, most laws of attraction and success start and end with curiosity. The more interested you are in others, the more interesting you'll be to others. By the way, I got that from Rene Rodriguez attending Amplify, where he's like, hey, you want to have attention, you want people to like you. Well, then you need to like them. Thank you, Rene, for that. Anyways, the more you like, oh, I already said that. All personal growth starts and ends with curiosity. I think I repeated myself. Gratitude is fueled with curiosity. I'm repeating myself now. And then there's a quote in our family. I've heard Shayla Gifford say this a number of times. I think the first time I heard this quote was Sarah Middleton, but it's like, always be better, never bitter. And I also think that always better, never bitter is fueled by curiosity. So anyway, so that was, and when I was writing it, I was almost like, okay, I want to take Jamie Dimon's 7, and not that I'm going to forward this to my kids and say, hey guys, read this, which I might, I haven't done that yet, but I wanted to be like, hey, in terms of the mentoring I'm doing with my kids and the mentoring I'm doing with this First Home IQ community, like, that would be how I would communicate the curiosity piece. Any comments on that before we go to hard work?
Well, I would just say that, it's funny, you talk about bitter versus better. It's like, my dad died. It's like, my mom's theme is better, not bitter. It's not easy for her, but she got that from you. So thank you.
Oh, wait a minute. Your mom?
Oh my God, I gave her, you and I had just had a conversation around the time frame of when my dad passed about being better, not bitter. And I told her that in either a text or I don't remember. And she's come back to me a couple times saying, I'm doing my best to be bitter, or to be better, not bitter. So anyway, that's where she got it from.
That's bitching.
Yeah.
All right. Do hard work.
And I got yours pulled up too. So if you want me to read both, I can do whatever you want. Work hard. My personal opinion, the pain of the effort is so much better than the pain of regret for mailing it in. The effort of working hard creates confidence for so many other areas in our lives. Working hard equals perseverance. Most people I rely on work hard at what they do. Most people I wouldn't rely on do not. A constant question we might ask ourselves, how do people see us? Hardworking or not?
Boom. I'm just going to read mine. Hard work is the great equalizer, because hard work can usually beat talent and or luck. Never being outworked will always put you in the top 10% of any profession. Hard work alone will not get you to the top 1% or number one. There is something beyond that to get to be number one at anything in life. So anyways, I think a very similar thing. I don't know if it's in my genes, like thank you, great grandpa and great grandpa and great grandpa, or it was how I was raised, but hard work is definitely a hallmark of, my life. And most of the people that I see succeed, how many top producers that you coached over the years do you feel like, you know what, they just did it on talent and they didn't have hard work? Can you think of anyone?
No. I mean, I question it myself sometimes. And it's like, what, I mean, that's not like a passive aggressive compliment. Like I really do question, like, God, do I work as hard as some of the other people? But I think one thing that I wrote, Dave, that I think is important for everybody is you have to reverse the lens and ask the question. Like, if you think about like some of these things are just words until you actually put them into like thoughts on who these people are. To your point, if I thought of, if everybody was just listening, you thought of 3 people that you had a ton of respect for, more than likely they work hard. And if you think of 3 people that you have very little respect for, more than likely they don't. Right. So it's like, for me, it's just an accountability tool. Like, I don't want to be on that other side,
Follow up.
Next one's follow up. So follow up equals trust. And it does, right? I think it's so freaking important. It's like trust is follow up, right? Like people that you trust follow up with you. I don't trust anybody that doesn't follow up. Do I need to be reminded of that? Working with Jack on the porta potty stuff, that's kind of a different story for a different day. Bottom line is my son's selling porta potties on his being home from college. And I keep telling him to follow up. And the guy, and he just left for college yesterday, but they were expecting him to close 1 or 2 in a 2-month period of time, and he closed 28. They hired him for some, like they hired him now he's at U of A. Now they're still paying him to do it, blah, blah, blah. So it's just super cool, but it was based on follow-up. I'm like, dude, you go out, you cold call these people, and then you follow up with them, and sure as hell, there you go. So follow-up shows you honor your word. Dependability isn't a sexy word, but it means everything. Dependable people follow up. I believe our team's strength is in part because of our follow-up. If we get an incoming call, email for an update, alarm bells are going off. It's like a code red. It means we didn't follow up.
Yeah. When I first started using a CRM early in my career, it was all about just so I could follow up. And to your point, it is the seed of trust. So here's what I wrote. I think I'm going to edit this and integrate yours a little bit more into mine now, but I just wrote follow up. The fortunes always have been in follow up in every profession, industry. Great follow up is also difficult. 90% won't do it well. And if you do this, if you make this a personal strength, you'll always do well in every profession and relationship building. And, I believe that to my core. And I have seen some elite producers that aren't great at follow-up though. I mean, that's one of those things where I think there are some, you can have success without it, but my goodness, what a superpower it is to have.
But I don't trust you.
Fair enough.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're right. And
I send you an email and you never respond. You don't return my phone calls. You don't do, I mean, it's like, I don't care how much money you make. I don't care how successful you are, Be honest. Mark Twain said, if you tell the truth, you don't need to remember anything. There is a magic formula on being honest and making sure people know you care. It touches on follow-up above. You can't help everyone and you can't follow up on everything for everyone. Being honest on what you can and can't sign up for is tricky, especially as we're trying to keep everyone happy. It's impossible.
Be honest. Truth and honesty will always lead to success and happiness. Lies of convenience are a slippery slope, and being honest with others and yourself will always lead to professional confidence and trust with everyone who knows you. Extreme honesty makes life easier and relationships better. So, I guess the only nuance I'd call that is just lies of convenience. I mean, I know a lot of people. Yeah, I know a lot of people that, you just think that lies of convenience are no big deal, and they're not lies. And it doesn't, there's a slippery slope, so just be careful there. And I guess the push I'd put to everyone, and by the way, have I ever done a lie of convenience? I have.
Yeah.
Where I just didn't want to hurt someone's feeling, or I didn't want to get into the whole conversation. And but I would tell you, it's hurt when I did it. It haunts me, and it hurts my respect for myself, even though no one would ever know it. And so I would just push everybody, as Hunter and I read this, we're at a tough time in the mortgage industry, and we need like the number one person who we need to respect and like, it's ourselves. So maybe we all could just tune it up there a little bit.
And by the way, on the little details, right? I mean, I think, because I'm the same way. Like, I mean, how many times have we said I was going to call you back, and when someone else called, they called you, you say, I was just about to call you back, you weren't. Like, those little things all, it's like, just say I forgot to call you back, right? Or just someone that someone that doesn't qualify for a mortgage. There's no point in telling them, you know what, let me check, let me keep looking into different options and all. It's like, the answer is, I can't get you a loan, right? I mean, it's like, it's our brains just get so stored up with crap when we're not just honest and moving on. So, but there is a balance of how do you make sure people know that you care and being honest with them at the same time. So, meet a lot of people. There are times when I think I have enough friends, I know enough people. It's easier to keep your network small. It doesn't require any growth or curiosity. Let's think of those three words: easy, growth, and curiosity. I'll take the latter two. Personal or business, if I went into every engagement with a growth and curiosity mindset, I'd be guaranteed to find some new great relationships and kick a few to the curb as well.
Boom. Reminder everyone listen to this, like our Hunter and I's hope is that not only are you getting some value from hearing what we're sharing, but you're either going to listen to this and write down and you're going to journal your own, you're going to make this your own, or you're going to stop between each one and do it. But just reminder, guys, like we're doing this, because we think the maximum impact is not only talking about this wisdom, but it's pushing people to author your own version of this. So just reminder there. Meet a lot of people. So many great things happen when you meet and get to know a lot of people. Number one, you get great at meeting, connecting, and building trust with relationships. Number two, life and success are a numbers game. So the more people you meet, the better odds you'll have the relationships you'll need to achieve your goals personally and professionally. Anything to add?
Well, no, I mean, I think just look at you as an example, right? I mean, like, you're selling Trust Engine and Mortgage Coach, but you got a huge audience of people that keep coming back because there's no monetary, you know what I mean? Like, you're a very good example of you give and you get, so.
Yeah, I guess that would be a thing to add on to mine, is just the more value you create for other people, the more value you get from other folks.
And by the way, the more you can ask for it, right? The more value you provide someone else, the more you have the right to ask for something in return. So. And
just to pile on that, because I interview a lot of people, and like Hunter's a busy dude. So for me to say, Hunter, you got time to create content, like that's asking a lot for a father, a husband, a leader, a coach. But I do feel that I give a lot to this industry. And so I got no problem with it. So, just think about that. If you're afraid to ask people things, maybe you're not creating enough value for you, by the way, just for you. Like, this is a game for you. So love it, bro. Good point.
Take care of yourself, your health, and people around you. Simple again, not always easy. Invest in myself, mentally, spiritually, physically, and be in a better position to pay that forward to the people I love and care about around me. Healthy examples around me make me want to be better. I want to be that healthy examples to others too.
Number 6, take care of yourself, your health, and the people around you. Without caring for your health, you can't optimize your success and achieve your true potential. Your vibe is your X factor behind all your words, and how you emotionally connect with each other. The older you get, the more you can't take your energy and your vibe for granted, and your vibe and your energy introduce you before your spoken word, or before your words are spoken. So one, I want to give Jonathan Roach, that whole your vibe is your X factor. Jonathan Roach, thank you for that. I've hired him to be my energy coach this time last year. And that speaking to, like, the older you get, the more you can't take it for granted. That was talking to myself. Like, I'm 59 this year. I'll be 69 or 60 next year. And trust me, any of you 30-year-olds listen to this, it's not just some old dude talking. Like, the habits you create today will dictate your life, and so you're never too young to optimize yourself. I used to be a, very active athlete, and now I'm trying to get back to being an entrepreneur athlete. And it's hard, once you've lost some of those it's really hard to get back to being an athlete. So for the next generation, guys, like, invest in this. Although I don't think I need to say that. I feel like I don't know about my kids, they do this more naturally. Like, when I competed, like, we competed to win games. I wasn't like necessarily working out all the time because I wanted to optimize my health. I worked out all the time so I could crush my competition, where I think there's a lot more awareness nowadays that the next generation, I think they're doing a pretty good job here.
I think for me, like, I turned 49 on Monday, and it's, and I've been through this before, like a New Year's resolution, but I'm like, I'm finally like, I'm ready to be physically but it's not just physically, it's mentally, and I think this environment, I mean, with the environment that we're all in, like, you got to take care of yourself first, both physically and mentally. And then the likelihood and the chances of you being in a position to capitalize on the outcome of this environment is much better. Whereas if you're, just, not being healthy, you're drinking too much, you're eating like shit, you're not proactively thinking, you're not reading, like, you stopped reading books that motivate and inspire you, all this stuff. Like, it's easy to go into that when this type of an environment exists. So, all right, the final one, give a damn, have a heart, mean it. This was probably my favorite thing he said. Brag alert, but my coaching students would ask me about our team and the magic they seem to feel when watching a team meeting or interacting with us. If I had to sum it up, I'd say exactly those words. We give a damn, we have a heart, and we mean it. If you don't give a damn, if you don't have a heart, you'll never mean it, and you will be found out. So I do think, like, you can't, I was just on a call yesterday with someone, and they were asking me about that. It's like, you can't fake caring about people. And maybe it's not, like, if it's not important to you, then I'm probably not interested in a relationship, but it's like, you can't fake the stuff, So when people ask about, like, how teams work so well, most of the time it's because the people care about one another. It sounds simple, but you gotta be thinking about it. So
Agreed. And so I'll read this last one, and then let's just wrap about this for a few. I'll go check Facebook, see if we have any questions. So give a damn, have a heart, mean it. Some people have this, and it's obvious. Most people don't, and it's obvious. The more you care, the more you connect your heart with your work, the better you'll be at everything. And the more you'll never burn out when your heart is aligned with your work mission. The more you care for others, the more others will take care of you. The more you care, the more gratitude and joy you'll experience. Extreme caring is the key to getting better, not bitter in life. So, when I read yours, I really wanted to move this to the top. I was like you, like, I bet you were listening to all this, and then when he hit number 7, you're like, I like this dude. Like, that's kind of like how okay, he's our people. I didn't, like, when I wrote mine, I was really thinking about putting it on top. But after I got done going through this exercise and journaling, I'm like, you know what? You can't be a person who gives a damn if you don't do everything on top. You can't just say, oh, I want to be a person that gives a damn. You know what happens? People that are curious give a damn. People that work hard, like, all of these things are what get you to be number 7. And then my last thought, and I would love to hear you, is to me, one of the most important things we can all do in life is that the older we get, the better we get, and not bitter. And I do think there is a natural inertia as human beings, because we age, we physically age, let's face it, when you see something for the first time, it's always more exciting than the second, third, and fourth. And so the older we get, we lose that, because we haven't seen it all, but it's a lot harder for us to be surprised. And so I just think the game of life for both success and happiness is better, not bitter. And I think that, like, give a damn, have a heart, mean it is like like the fuel to bitter, not better, or better, not bitter.
Yeah.
Anyways, how would you close out?
I mean, I agree with everything you said, and I've got the proof in the, not to make it too personal, but I mean, I started off with my 102-year-old Grammy, right? Like when she died in her house. She was part of a Jungian psychology group. She was part of a book club, movie club. She did yoga. Anyway, I don't like my dad, who he was when he unexpectedly passed away. It's like, to your point, you have to look at people. Like, to me, I look at my mentors, right? I look at people that I care and trust and respect, and it's like, the chances of you being better, not bitter, has everything to do with what we're doing along the lines of, ages, whatever, 20 to 70, 80. You see so many people that are older and bitter, and it's like they just decided at some point in time that they could just stop growing, stop investing in themselves, and that's what happens. And I'm sure there's some people that listen to you and me right now, go, these guys are, blowhards on whatever, but it's like, who gives a crap? Like, what's the alternative? I mean, I got it real quick, Dave. I didn't tell you, well, we don't tell each other anything that we're going to do, but listening to a book this morning, right? And it hit me. It's talking about like mindset. It said, if you want to have more peace, if you want to have a more peaceful and meaningful life, you need to have more peaceful and meaningful thoughts. And it's just like, me with reversing the lens on that. The opposite is also true. If you want to have a shittier life, a crappier life, a harder life, then have those thoughts going through your head all the time too. If you want to be, if you want to have a more stressed out life, have more stressful thoughts. It's just, some of the stuff's just, I mean, I know it's not easy, but it's simple.
I love it. So guys, I am going to put a link to this Google Doc. This is my Google Doc of what I wrote is up top. What Hunter wrote is underneath it. What I'd love for y'all to do, and hopefully you'll make your version of this. If you want to forward it to Hunter or I, we're on social media. I think we're pretty, y'all can find us somewhere. And we're all about elevating the mortgage industry and all about helping the next generation. If you do donate to nonprofits, or you're in the mortgage business and you want to help the next generation, Gen Z, check out firsthomeiq.com. At least get on the mailing list so that you're in the know of what we're doing. You can do that at First Home IQ. If you want to get Hunter's Sunday Thoughts and you want to grow as a leader, sundaythoughts.com. Check that out. It's awesome. I read it every Sunday. Hunter, any closing words before we call this a wrap?
No, man, I'm happy to be here. I'm grateful if there's one other person listening, fantastic. But I think the more time that we spend, especially in this environment, working on our headspace, and also working on our physical space, it truly matters. And I'm on both sides of that fence. And, right now I'm on the right side of it, and it feels freaking great.
Yeah. And, headspace is everything. This book, Gap in the Gain, I read it in May. I was interviewing Shant Benoshian, the #1 loan officer in America. And I was asking him, Shant, what are you doing? And by the way, if you go into MMI or any platform, Shant's gaining market share. So, he's going to do over $1 billion in production. And he used to have, he's always been the #1 dude, but he's gained market share in this year. And in May, I asked him, what are you doing? He's like, it's May, and I've met with more realtors. His current goal right now is 50 to 75 realtors a week, doing masterminds. He goes, I'm doing a lot of lunch masterminds. But in May, he goes, I've met with more realtors this year than I ever have in my, career. And I was like, so first of all, I thought that was badass. And then I'm like, well, what are you talking about? And he goes, hey, a lot of what we're talking about is mindset. And he called out this book, and he said, this book, he goes, I've never worked on my mindset more. And this is the book he called out. I literally, Shant, if you watch this, I multitasked. I literally ordered the book and the audio book while you were talking. And I started listening to it that day and finished it by the weekend. Guys, it's a mindset market. So one, read that book or do the audio book like I did. And then do this little exercise that Hunter and I laid out. I think you get value from it. And maybe do something like this with your realtors, like the realtors that you really bond with, let them know about this project and maybe, collaborate with them. So Hunter, love you, brother.
Love you too, Dave.
Oh,
Thanks,
and by the way, one last thing. I got a video message from Jeremy Forcier and Hunter. Was it last weekend that you sent that to me?
Yeah, Friday night.
Yeah. So first of all, the hair, dude, you need to start doing that hair. But here's the thing I would say. It was it was the nicest video ever, and I saved it. I have like a little folder for thank yous, because whenever you're kind of like feeling down, like it's good to like read thank yous. But the push I would make to everyone, say thank you to folks, and say it like you mean it. So first of all, thank you for that video. I hadn't called you out on that. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Take care, everybody.
All right. Thanks, everyone.